would say over the past couple of years, one of the things that I've learned the most about in my own life, and certainly have been applying it to the work that I do in the world and the things that I teach you, it's been in the kind of realm of embodiment, of tuning into, tapping into your physical body, where not only pleasure is found, right? And from a sexual standpoint, arousal and excitement and fulfillment is found, but also that our bodies are a beautiful compass that is constantly like a truth barometer and also a way to reach discernment. And what I mean by discernment is that if you are someone who struggles with knowing your own mind, or is what we would call a codependent, or like me, a recovering codependent, it's really hard to even know what your yes and no really is. It's hard to, what I mean by discernment is being able to really discern, determine, differentiate what's yours and what's someone else's. What is your truth, and holding on to that in the face of other people telling you another truth, or other people trying to convince you otherwise, or other people telling you you're wrong, right? And so if you grew up to be a people pleaser or a codependent, then you grew up in a family where you really weren't allowed to trust your own instincts and speak your truth. I mean, the example I always kind of give from my own life is that I was raised by, a very wonderful man in many ways, and woman, but speaking of the man, but also a narcissist. My mom was a codependent, and I was a codependent with my mom and my dad and everyone else. But if I were to say, hey, the sky is blue, look at the blue sky, and my dad would say, no, it's not, it's yellow. My way of dealing with it, just because the way I was made and my personality was because he was so scary and it was so dangerous not to have his approval, I would just be like, oh, I must be wrong. The sky isn't blue, it's yellow, like Dad says. And so very early on, and I think this happens to a lot of us for a lot of different reasons, especially if we grew up in difficult childhoods where we weren't allowed to have our own feelings, where we were gaslit and told that what we were seeing or what we were feeling or what we knew to be the truth really wasn't the truth. And that often is the case in homes where there was abuse or addiction or secrets. And so you grow up kind of not only not trusting your own gut and knowing your own truth, but often not even in your body. And so that's what I really want to help you understand is how do you differentiate when you're in your body and when you're not, and start to realize how often you aren't in your body. And that's been one of the biggest realizations, because as I've gone through this really dark night of the soul over the past year and a half since Sammy died, and I had to make this decision inside myself because I knew I needed to in order to survive. I had to make this decision to live. I wanted to make a decision to live, and I did. And it was very clear to me. And then I knew that if I was going to live, because I've had this experience before of tremendous grief and loss that I didn't allow myself to feel and didn't stay in my body to feel. I just went out into the clouds and into la woo land and made meaning out of it without actually feeling it. Then I got sick. And I knew that this kind of loss was going to kill me if I didn't let myself fully feel it. And that's when the real learning began, because as I allowed myself to really feel the feelings that most of us spend our lives trying not to feel, it really set me free. And it also helped me realize to what extent I and everyone else is walking around ungrounded, disconnected, and disassociated from ourselves. We learn it early. We learn to kind of leave ourselves. And now there's so many ways to do that through technology, scrolling, soft addictions, online shopping, scrolling through social media, focusing on posting, calling up a friend, drugs and alcohol, whatever, you pick your poison, right? But we all have these ways of just not being with ourselves. And then if we don't use those things, we just walk around not kind of with our heads somewhere else or up in our intellect, right? And we tend to intellectualize things or talk about things rather than actually feel things. And there's a big difference. So really the first key, I would say, to starting to become more embodied is to create a practice regularly throughout the day of coming back to yourself. So when I was first doing this, and I recommend this highly, I just had little dings, alarm go off on my phone every couple of hours. And when I heard that ding, I knew to ground. And it only takes a few minutes. I have a grounding meditation on my website. You can go and be guided through it. It's on the Quantum Love page of drlauraberman.com. But basically, it involves taking even just 3 to 5 really deep breaths. And as you breathe in, you imagine a beautiful light coming in through the top of your head, any color that comes to you. And as you're holding the breath for a moment, it's filling every cell of your body. And as you breathe out, it kind of, you imagine the light shooting out your tailbone deep into the center of the earth and grounding you there. There's something about doing this energetically that not only grounds your energy, but brings you back to your body, right? And the other thing you can do is to attune to your senses regularly. So you hear that you set the ding for every couple of hours throughout the day, and it only takes 3 weeks to kind of set a new habit, but you don't need to make grounding a habit. It just, if you do it for 3 weeks, you're going to find that you are so much more in your body. The other thing you can do is tune into your 5 senses, right? So you stop for the moment and you think about, okay, what am I smelling? What am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling? And so you tune into all your senses. And the other thing that really helps is to tune into the outline of your body, right? Just like kind of close your eyes, take some breaths, and perceive where your body ends and where the air around it or the space around it begins. That's a really powerful way to get back into your body. And most of all, just start making it a habit. And it is a habit you have to develop, especially if you tend to be disconnected from your body, to ask it questions and to sense and see how it feels. So I've made lots of videos that I've posted for you, and even some language of love bites about understanding what yes and no feels like in your body, and also learning to move through, like scanning your body for sensations and emotions, right? As a little meditation, even before you get out of bed, there's this practice called samsara of being with yourself, right? So even before you open your eyes, just doing a gentle scan of your entire body, moving your consciousness from the top of your head down to your toes, really slowly scanning down. Just noticing where you have tension, where you have tightness, where you have pain, and breathing into those places. And then, of course, there are those other practices that I've shared with you in my ebook, You're Not Crazy, You're Just Ascending. That's the title of that book. I give you some techniques for really working with and going into the sensations your body is having so that you can actually learn how to release things that your body is holding on to that makes you healthier, that raises your frequency, that creates more energy in your life, that helps you heal emotionally and physically. I'll put a pin in that because I feel like I can give you more on that, but I think I've done that in other love bites and videos that I've posted for you. But what I will say in this context is as you start to do these practices of scanning your body, tuning into your body, grounding your energy, coming back to your senses, then you start to build the practice of listening to your body, right? So you have a decision to make from, start with low stakes decisions from what am I going to eat for dinner? Do I want pizza or do I want to make something at home? Do I want to take the freeway to work or the back roads? Do I want to, go out for drinks with my friend tonight or tomorrow night or not, right? You start asking the question. You usually just ask in your mind, right? Ask your body. Don't even think about the pros and cons. Ask your body, do I want to do this? And notice what you feel, right? And a lot of people aren't even sure that what they're feeling, like, am I convincing myself I'm feeling this feeling or not? So the clue and the beautiful tool that never, ever fails is tuning into your heart center. Okay, so if you imagine right in the center of your chest, There is a beautiful, eternal, endless, gorgeous flame, which is like the spark of energy that began your consciousness in this body. And that light is kind of your pilot light. It's the light of your essential self. It's the light that connects you to your higher self, your essential self, your spirit self. And if you can I literally call it running things through my heart, because often, since I didn't have a lot of discernment and had been having to develop it in my adult years, I didn't necessarily trust my instincts or my guts, or I wasn't sure what I was thinking or feeling was true. So I would scan my body and I would have an idea of what it was wanting, but like, is this really true? Well, then you just literally run the idea through your heart. And what I mean by that is you put all of your conscious awareness on the center of your heart and you ask the question, whatever it is, even if the question is what I'm thinking, is it true that I shouldn't go out to drinks? That, that my body is saying not to go out to drinks tonight? Is that really the truth, right? Literally, if you start, it never fails. Your heart center, you'll feel a constriction in your chest when it's not in alignment, right? So when it's a no, there will be a constriction in your heart center. When it's a yes, you will feel expansion. If it's a big yes, you might even feel an expansion and what I call truth chills, right? So I get those a lot especially when I'm working with someone and I get a lot of downloads and a lot of knowings, and I'm still learning to trust them. And I'm still learning what's, mine and what's coming from me and what's coming through me. So I often have to depend on running it through my heart. I'll have something come in and I'm not sure, okay, is this just my agenda? Is this something that I really need to share with this other person? Is this something I should say out loud? And I just run it through my heart. And invariably, like every single time, it will tell me whether to say, it'll constrict or expand. And if it's really important to say, I'll get the truth chills, which are sort of those goosebumps all over your body that are saying, yes, this is the truth. So it is amazing. Your body has so much wisdom, and it is a keeper of everything that's happened to you in this lifetime. And it has a cellular memory of everything that's happened before. And your body is the bridge to your soul. That's the truth. And so as you start to work with your body, listen to your body, attune to your body, be in your body, that's when the magic can really happen. And it seems like an oxymoron. It seems so bizarre that the more you're in your body, the more spiritually connected you can become, because you think of spiritual connection as being out in the ether. But the truth is our bodies are our receptors. It's not just our brain and our intellect. It's our entire physical system that is the bridge. And the more you can attune to that, the more you can attune to what lays beyond our five senses. But you need to tune into your five senses to begin that, and especially into your energetic body. So I hope that gives you a starting point. Please let me know what you think about this, because I love this kind of stuff. I could geek out on this forever and talk about it. And I'm happy to make more videos and more Language of Love bites and all sorts of content for you in this vein and any other, because you know that I'm always here trying to help you learn to love and be loved better.